Hi, everyone. Welcome back from the break. Sorry about that. We are back with the Latin American Speedrun Showcase. I'm one of your hosts, Nick Dice, once again, joined by Rebecca R.E.
Hello, guys.
Yeah. We're going to be going into our horror block for the night. So we have a couple of fun games, and we have 3 of them for the horror block. Rebecca, would you like to tell us our first game in the horror block coming up?
Yeah, in the next game we have Kuon by Chris Doyle, and the commentary we will have Ecdices. ¿Cómo estás, Chris? ¿Puedes hacer una introducción sobre ti?
All right.
Sí, muy bien. Bueno, soy crisdoile2. Espero que le guste el rant. De hecho, va a estar muy interesante. Y pues sobre mí, pues solamente me gustan los speedrun y los juegos de terror de cualquier género. Y ahí gracias por la suerte también.
¿Está listo para comenzar?
Sí.
¿Puede empezar Ecdices el contador?
I will be joining Chris on commentary here. Kuon's a pretty fun horror game, but it requires a lot of focus, so I'll be commentating for Chris here. Anyway, Chris.
Thank you.
Yes, I see. When you're ready to count down, let us know when you're ready to begin.
I'm ready.
Yep, we can do all right, just count down 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay.
Yep, whenever you're ready, count down.
And
Wait.
Yeah.
One, 2, 3.
All right. There we go. Alrighty. Okay. We can now begin. All right, we had to wait for the menu to go there. So we're doing a category called the Yin phase here. We have the Yin phase and the Yang phase. These are the phases of Kuon, and they're essentially just kind of different stories. Think kind of like in Resident Evil, you have Jill and Chris. This is Yin and Yang. We're going to be going on the Yin phase, which is a lot more running and a little bit less action, but still pretty fun. So first things first, we're going to be grabbing this herb. It is healing. It is going to make sure that we're going to be able to, stay healthy throughout the run, and it's pretty safe. We also have the nail. We get introduced to a panic mechanic here. We're going to almost entirely ignore it. Now, there is a neat trick in Kuon, and the trick is Chris will never be letting go of the run button. You pretty much hold down run the entire time. The reason for this is it is going to allow you to have infinite stamina. Now, there's a catch that you slow down too much or stop, that will be bad. Right now, as well, you see he grabs a nail and a coin. This is going to be for a later puzzle where you need 3 coins and 3 nails. So as he goes through the game, he'll also be grabbing these. It's kind of solving a lot of puzzles at once. Kuon, like many horror games, needs a lot to happen. So we're going to activate some triggers just so other ones can happen, because doors are being blocked, and if you don't talk to certain characters, they'll never be unlocked. It's a classic horror thing. Right now, I am speaking in English. So we're going to talk to the twins here, and it's pretty much going to be the lore dump that we need to get to the main building, if you can call it that. And you can see they're moving on to the next area, which we'll be going there later, but we don't have all the coins just yet, so we can't go there immediately. The language of the game is, I believe this is the Japanese version of the game. In terms of running the versions of the game, it is neat. The Japanese version is not so much faster as it is cheaper. Kuon is one of those games that is absurdly expensive. It might actually be the most expensive PS2 horror game out there right now. It is a very rare game. Usually goes for like $800 or so. Right now, we get a couple of weapon cards. We will not be using these ones, but we'll be giving some later, which will be used during the run and for the boss fights. But yes, also the Japanese version gets ran because out of all the versions, it usually tends to be the cheapest one. Right now, we're getting a little jump scare here. This always happens. Luckily, we're not going to worry too much. Health in this game is just a little bit weird. The reason why is because it is kind of based on panic. We do get a grab here. This grab almost always happens. This is also why we grab safety items. It's much safer than just running through entirely. A funny thing about this run as well, if you're watching the difference of top runners like Chris here and low runners like me, I'm not good at this game, but I run it. One of the cool things is that it really does show the infinite stamina glitch. If you let go of the stamina button, you would actually be winded at that point, and you can't run past that enemy. You would almost be stuck entirely. So there is quite a lot here that is being saved by holding down the button the whole time. We're going to be grabbing a couple things here. One is a dragon statue that will be used on a puzzle. And we're going to be having a dial here. The answer is always the same. He's going to be turning it on set locations. Luckily, if you just memorize these, you don't have to do the puzzle. You can just type it in. And there we go. This room is a bit risky. There are two enemies immediately, and you need to grab the pliers right here. It is pretty clean. We get out there nice. And now the enemies are, going to chase after you. The map starts opening up a little bit here. Luckily with this game, enemies usually aren't too mean. There's a few hallways that are more risky than others, but we should be fine there. This cutscene will always happen. This is another one of those puzzles that we're going to be doing later. This will require a boss fight to be beaten. But we're just going to be running through here because we get the cutscene out of the way, and we're actually going around the building. You could wait it out to see better, but a big part about running this game is being able to run with the blurry vision and the really dark hallways. It does take a lot of practice to do this, so sorry for being a little bit disorienting. It can get a bit dizzy. Alright, luckily we are almost back to normal. There we go, back to normal. Well, kind of. Yeah, so this is the main building I was talking about. A lot of the early game takes place here. You see there's a little dude chilling there. That guy is going to be chasing us later, but for right now, he's just kind of chilling. We're going to be grabbing a few more items in the game. The first one is right back here, which is going to be a seal. Some doors in this game have seals, and you can't pass them unless you have the proper seal to pass them. As well, we are grabbing fire bolts. That is one of the weapons we'll be using for boss fights throughout this game. It summons a fireball, which is pretty good for the run. You also see that that door had the seal there, and we were able to bypass it. We're now going into this bloody room. We get a cutscene and another seal, which we can leave immediately. It's always really fun just to kind of watch the character infinitely run. It's not something that's really appreciated until you, I guess, can... Like, seeing the controller for this game is kind of a trip. I know you don't have the ability to see the controller, but you are just holding it down the entire time. Right now is a risky room. We're going to be getting another nail. This is where the pliers are going to be used. We have the item menu. With the pliers being used here. That is going to free the nail on the ground. This enemy always spawns and will almost always grab you. We do get the nail, and we get out immediately. It does look like we are a little bit winded, but that should be okay, because we are out. The game's going to have a lot of scares as well throughout the game. We saw a few of them so far, and there will be plenty more. It is a horror game, after all. Right now, as well, Chris might go for... we'll see how he plays the strat here. There are a few different ones depending on, I guess, runner preference here. Because there are a few different items that can be grabbed. You will always need to grab the seal, which there's the seal for the next door. He is grabbing the lion statue, which is needed for the puzzle, and we are getting out of here. Playing it nice and fast. There is a health pickup there, but Chris does not need it. He's been doing pretty good so far, and he still has the one from earlier. As well, there's plenty of other health drops in the game that can be grabbed. All right, so a weird thing about Kuon is this puzzle right here. If you own the European copy of the game, you can skip this puzzle. I don't know why. It's just not in the PAL version or the European copy of the game. Again, the problem is, though, that copies of Kuon are not the easiest to get, so not everyone's going to be able to buy multiple copies of this game, given its price. This is where the lion statues will be used. This is a puzzle that requires both of them. We get a scroll and a coin. The scroll is just story, and we get the coin. And now that we're done with that, I believe we're going to be heading on to our first boss of the game in a moment here. Combat in this game is going to be quite interesting. I do believe we still need some supplies, and we're going to be backtracking. You'll notice that some doors are going to start being unlocked. Some of the locations might look familiar. A lot of horror runs are opening up the map so you can kind of get through more efficiently. Here's the guy from earlier. Remember him? All right, now he's chasing us. We don't want to go back here, go backtrack. So the way Chris is going, we just want to keep going forward. In this room right here, we're going to be getting the diary. It's kind of one of those lore events that you have to do. And now we're able to break the seal here. Alrighty, so this hallway is... It could be mean with the enemies, but it's really just kind of hard to see sometimes because it's a really dark hallway. Alright, here we are. Here's our first boss. Okay, so what's gonna happen here is we need to get the bell. Chris is actually healing before the fight to play safe. Doesn't want to take too much damage here. And now what he's going to do is he is going to go to the menu. He is going to then summon two things. It is going to be fire and a wolf. I believe he used another health kit as well for the grab. He equipped them now. That is the firebolt. That is the wolf. And you can see the fire. He is making sure to properly space these out. If you spam them too much, what's going to happen is he'll dodge a bullet. But we're doing good here. It looks like he's actually saving the wolf from what I can tell. But that should be okay. The fire will be more than enough. Oops. Let's see. You do get a little damage from getting off a grab. Let's see. All right. Good fight. About 17 firebolts there. There are more throughout the run if needed. It looks like he's run yellow health right now. The healths are blue, yellow, and red. It's kind of weird as well because you can regenerate health with a meditation, but it's not faster, so Chris wants to make sure he has the medicine pouches, which he had 3. I believe he has 1 now. All right, so now that the boss is dead, earlier we had the room with the girl that ran away. That is the bell. We can now use that here. And yes, the boss can be quite tanky. It is a bit of a mean fight. We're not backtracking through these hallways. This is the door that was locked earlier. We did miss it. We get a bit of a jump scare there from a ghost, but luckily we can just head right back here. And if you remember the scene where the girl ran away, we're right back to that room. As well, Chris is opting to grab more firebolts. These are going to be used in more boss fights. Health is still yellow, so that's good. He uses the bell, and we are now almost done with this part of the manor. We get another medicine pouch, and we get the nail. Alright, so now that we have all 3 nails, we just need to get the last coin, and then... if you remember earlier in the run, I mentioned there was a cutscene that needed to happen. This is when Chris was talking to the twin girls. We're pretty much going all the way back there in a moment. As well, the enemy that was here earlier is kind of just lurking nearby, right there. But since we came back this way, the enemy is now gone. The coin that we're going to be grabbing is right here in the garden. There we are. As well, we get more fire. So, the strat Chris will be going for here, most likely, is Kuon Yin phase has 2 major boss fights. One of them is the one we just saw, where Chris primarily used fire. He did not use the other scroll, though. Different scrolls have different effects. So, the other one he has is the wolf. He'll be using that during the next boss fight, which is the final boss of the game. So, it is a safety strat here. As you can see, we're also running right back to where we started. This is the very beginning of the game. Except this time, we're just going to just go to the coin puzzle we could not do earlier. We didn't really see it because we didn't go up that, but you remember the twins went up that path. That being said, we haven't talked about it much yet, but Kuon as a game is a FromSoft horror game. It was made by the, FromSoft, the Dark Souls people, and it's a very neat game. It's about silkworms. Just think about the song All Around the Mulberry Bush, I think that's what it is. Luckily, the coin puzzle is pretty easy. It's always the coin that you pretty much get immediately, and now we're underground. We're going to be having a few sections of this game where we need to be underground. This is the first of them. Which is pretty easy because we just take a ladder right back up, and then we're going to end up, I want to say, in I don't know what to call this, like a temple. I think it's kind of like a temple or a side house. A lot of webs and, oh, look, hands. Oh no, how scary. While we're here, we're going to need certain tools as well so we can get out of here. As well, the hands cause the blurry vision again. But now we have an urn. And we can get out of this room. All right, we pick up the blue knife. All of what this is going to do is this is going to cause more of the events in the game to happen, and we mainly need a cocoon to break. That is the major block in this area. We do need to be careful. This enemy can be pretty aggressive. They go through rooms. They are a ghost. There's the cocoon I was talking about. With Chris grabbing the items, the cocoon is not broken. and you can run right by. Alright, we get our next cutscene. She's moving the box, so we know we're going the right way. We just have to follow her, really. It's a little bit hard to see, but Chris makes it through nice and easy and is able to go through the door right here, taking him to the next hub, almost. Like I said, this is kind of like a temple thing, so we're coming right to the end of the temple. This is also why we needed the urn earlier. And now we are back underground, but actually. We get another seal. But we're actually going to ignore the ghost and head right back up. It's weird because when we head up, there's going to be a cutscene that throws us right back down, but it's one of those things that you have to do to proceed. A lot of horror games are like that. If you have to do something really kind of like out of left field, because if you don't do it, it's not going to like give you progress. You can see right here, we try to leave and go back, but then we find ourselves back underground. Underground can be quite risky, so we want to make sure we're going to be nice and safe. You can see right here, Chris is actually meditating. The reason why is because this is going to make it safer for one. He'll be able to see, and then we want to actually avoid the enemy here. So to play it safe, Chris is using that dog enemy from earlier, is going to distract this enemy right here. And he's going to be able to run to the back. Luckily, when you're behind this wall, the enemies normally won't get you. You can get a scythe, which is going to cut through a wall. But he does have to be careful. These guys do leak like damage all around. He is in red health. Luckily, we do have healing. And we're out of there. Good job. All right, and then we can cut the web with the axe he picked up. All right, I guess it's a scythe? The scythe. Ooh, we are out. We are out. A lot of the underground enemies can be quite mean. They hit really hard. So, good movement by Chris here. Alright, we get our forced events. There's scare happening there, but we're going to ignore it because it's a story. And it allows this woman to start walking here. This path won't be open unless you watch that cutscene. That enemy right there can be quite mean. We'll probably be seeing them later. It is the worms. Hopefully they won't be bad. But we'll hope for that later. Right now, we are almost done with the first underground. All right, we are now back up, and we're entering the houses. This is gonna be the next major hub and the last before the finale. So we're actually making pretty good progress. We're a little over halfway through the game right now. This teaches you how to climb stairs. We're not going to do that just yet. Everything's going to be kind of in this house and beyond. Luckily, there is also more health here if we need it, but we can worry about that later during the boss fight. We're going to be preparing things to summon the boss. But right now, the whole plan is to follow the blood, like any horror game. We're going to hop up these rocks. It's pretty, just like a simple staircase. It's going to take us to a kind of another temple. There's a lot of temples in this game. And we're going to be having our first thing here. This is a tunnel. We're going to be getting a few items from the back here. We're going to end up in this part a few times, but we have a lot of item pickups here. So let's see. I think we have a lot at least. We also scare this poor man. See, we're the horror game now. We are the spooky one. Alright, so we're going to grab the talisman there, which is the... I don't know how to call it outside of... It is of a woman. I think it has a more official name, but my Japanese is not the best. But we got our scare there, and we grabbed the scroll we need. That guy right there is going to be our boss fight in a bit. We had to scare him out of there. And now we're going to be heading back the way we came. All right, we are just about ready. We have the woman and the dog. These are going to be the boss fight weapons. We do need fire. We have the option. But here's what's going to happen. Chris is going to lay down the dog. The dog is going to start attacking. The man is on the ground, luckily. He'll keep casting firebolts. We do want to be careful. As well, he looks like he is healing. And he is going to summon the woman. The woman's gonna, like, I guess really both of the enemies are gonna, like, bite him. I think that's the actual attack. But we're gonna have summoned enemies do the fight for us here. They do a lot of damage, so they're really rare. As well, the woman does die quickly because she's eating all the firebolts, which keeps us safe. So... There we go. Alright, be careful. We have a... Alright, the woman's doing good. Looks like... Chris is equipping more firebolts. This is going to allow him to do more damage here. Let's see. This is one of the harder bosses in the game. This is good chaining of fire and woman. If you're wondering, the black fade out on the cards is how his scroll is doing. He is using the last of the woman's scroll. And he's dead. Okay, good fight. Good job, Chris. Hey, cheers. And we get the seal off that. Okay, so we're now going to follow the blood once again here. We get a diary that's going to kind of give you lore bits. Teaches you about the, I guess, the baskets in the game. The game has a lot of baskets in it. It's about baskets and silkworms. You know anything about baskets and silkworms, you'll know about Kuon. And we're actually going to be heading back to the temple now. The thing is, earlier you remember we had the temple with the long tunnel. On the other side of that temple was a door with a seal, but now we have the seal. So instead of going to the tunnel again, we can just go to the door, and now we're entering the end game. We can call it the final dungeon. There are still enemies around. We do need to be careful. All right, so we have more of a lore. This is a bright light coming on. I know it's a horror game. It's been dark. It's about to get really up. There it is. Big flash. Okay, so behind here, we are going to be going back underground. The finale of the game, it takes place underground. Now, we're not out of the woods yet. We are still have a lot we have to do here. We're going to be having these hammers. These are going to break these walls. You can see there's a lot of cracks in them. There are going to be a couple of them in the game. We need to break 2. First one is right here. It'll break the wall. Now, the thing is, there is going to be an enemy that can be quite mean. I believe Chris is going to be playing it safe. You remember here, we're back down underground. It's actually not these enemies. Earlier, you remember was the guy in yellow and the guy in white in the robes. They're not the problem. The problem is the worm enemies. They are big and they kind of have a poison aura around them. So Chris is going to have to play very carefully to not get caught up in that. There's a few ways around it. We'll see. That is the first dodge. Just going very quickly to that right room means you get to avoid the worms. This room can be awkward. There is a way of getting a game over here if you're not careful. But luckily, we are all good here. Chris is going to go immediately over to the rock wall. This will only appear if you get the scare there. So now he is going to be using the hammer on this wall, and that is the last hammer of the game. It's a weird puzzle. All right, we have released the bridge. You might remember this part earlier. I think we woke up in one of these earlier in the game, or we went to bed in one of these. These are the baskets. We have a seal, so we can finally get through this door now. And here's the worm. So the way Chris is going to play it is a safety strat. He is going to be waiting until the worm gets enough distance. The worm is pretty big, so he is avoiding it. We now get the worm down there. He avoids both. And he is able to pass. We are very close to being done. We have a little bit left in the game here. This guy does come back. He's usually not a problem, but he can be. We do need to be careful. We have no more first aid. But luckily, Chris should be able to meditate, I believe, in the next area, and that should help. Right now, we're about maybe 4 hallways away from the finale. I do believe there is health nearby, if I remember correctly. We get a seal and we get a talisman. Let's see. We're very close to the end of the run right now. There's the meditate. Meditating will bring you back to normal. It's a good thing. Meditation is helpful. This is very safe. It is going to give him a little bit more health. That will prevent any accidental hits. This guy really likes to be right there. Okay, we're past this enemy, and once we pass the worms, I think we're home free. Let's see how he does. All right, there's the worms again. He's playing it very safe, very safe. Hey, okay, we good. The worms are pretty big. He's out of there, we're good, and... All right, we are right at the end of the game. Time will be coming up in a moment. This is a forced walk. It will force you to walk forward. Time will come when we hit the gates, and this has been a very good run of Kuon. And we have a dog.
Woof.
Woof woof.
Creo que mi perro se dio cuenta que yo no
All good, all good. Alright, time is coming in a moment here, and... Time! GG!
GG.
Ah, GG.
Yep, that was Kuon.
Estuvo muy intenso, la verdad, la run.
Hey,
Muy buena
good run,
run.
Chris.
Más la última. Thank you, Mr. Endisai. Muchas gracias, Rebe, también por el apoyo. Sí estaba demasiado nervioso porque como tengo más de 4 años que no lo juego el juego y la verdad que también estaba contento también por haber regresado a este juego. Pero muchas gracias por la oportunidad otra vez de estar aquí con ustedes. Thank you so much, Mr. Endisai, the opportunity in this event. Thanks. And Rebe, muchas gracias también a Rebeca por también invitarme de nuevo acá por segunda vez. Creo que el año pasado fue Resident Evil 13, ahora me invitaron
Felicidades, Chris.
para jugar con... Muchas gracias, Rebe.
Yeah.
Así que GG, amigos.
GG. All right. Thank you again, Chris, for doing the run of Kuon. For anyone who wants to check out more of Chris Doyle, does a lot of fun horror games. Kuon, I believe some Resident Evil. I think he's ran Paranormal HK in the past as well. A lot of horror games. You can find him at crisdoile2 on Twitch. I'll post the link in Twitch chat. Muchas gracias again, Chris.
No, muchas gracias a ti, Andy. Thank you so much.
Yeah, salute. All right. Thank you for that run, Chris. All right, we have a couple more runs for you tonight, so don't go anywhere. We are going to be right back very quick.